Hi everybody, Steve from Steve's Makerspace, and today we're in Scrap Mechanic. I'm in creative mode, but testing cars for survival mode, looking at piston cars versus controller cars. With a gas car you need to hunt for oil, with an electric car you need to hunt for batteries. With a piston car or a controller car it's like free energy. So kAN put together a wonderful tutorial on how to make a piston car. I highly recommend it. Magma also made a tutorial on making a piston car. I haven't watched all of that one, but what I saw looked pretty good. And I went ahead and made kAN's car in creative mode. And I was all ready to make my car in survival mode, exactly like kAN's. And then I saw on Reddit, Endersite1 said, hey, why aren't people making controller cars? I've made a controller car and it works great. So I said, let me take a look at that. So I made myself a controller car. Here it is. It's got 3 bearings for each tire and 3 controllers for each bearing. So one of the nice things about this is you can set your speed. You can go slow, medium, or high. It's simpler to build than a piston car. So how does it compare to kAN's car? Well, I raced them against each other, and the controller car can beat kAN's car, but only if the controllers are at level 5. They're turned all the way up. If they're at level 4, then kAN's car wins. Now what about power? So I tested them against each other on power, and the controller car beats kAN's car in power. For the power comparison, I did weigh the cars against each other to make sure that they were similar weight. What about how expensive each of these are? So I ignored wheels and the car seat and laid out all the different things that are specific to a piston car versus a controller car. And then with the piston car, those pistons require metal too, so I broke that down into its base components. So here are the results, and the big thing is that the piston car requires 758 metal, versus only 15 on the controller car. But the component kits, a controller car with 3 level 5 controllers requires 63 component kits versus 16 for the piston car. Although this is assuming that you want 3 speeds. Once you get to a level 5 controller, you could have just 2 controllers if you want just 2 speeds. And then of course it would be cheaper. I think the piston car is more expensive. I did test my controller car against some other piston cars, including one by Enzos, one by Jopi Games, and then one by Karate Kid 38. And I found that my controller car was beating the Jopi Games car and Enzo's car. However, it was about tying with Karate Kid 38 in both power and speed. So this car, piston car, was better than kAN's. Excuse me. Sorry. Now, I have to say that the piston car is definitely cooler and more enjoyable than a controller car. One thing that could improve the piston car is to make it a hybrid of a piston car and something else. It has a spot on the inside of those wheels for an extra bearing, which you could connect to either a controller, a gas engine, or an electric engine, and then either with a controller turned up you can have extra speed, or you can connect it to an electric or a gas engine and give yourself a boost if you're running from the big red boy. So I don't think I need to do a tutorial on how to put together a controller car. It's pretty self-explanatory. Another advantage of the controller car is it's pretty easy to do 4-wheel drive, and that helps out on bumpy terrain, whereas with the piston car, if you wanted to do 4-wheel drive, it's more complicated to set up. Now I've also got a 4th bearing on the controller car, and that is for the reverse. The reverse, you could have a controller for the reverse, but it's obviously slow. So I'm recommending that you do either gas or electric for the reverse, and then you're only using a little bit of gas or battery for that. I did a couple of final tests with kAN's hybrid car against my controller car, and the hybrid car was still a little bit slower than the controller car. Another option with the controller car though is for that fourth bearing to be forward rotating, and you could use a gas engine with that. Here I've just got the 4 controllers all going forward, and it's beating kAN's car. I had trouble testing this because kAN's car, when it was up against a wall and then the wall was removed, would refuse to go. I also tried the remote control from the mod pack, and apparently it's broken right now. So do I recommend a controller car over a piston car? I think I do. I'm going to make a controller car, but you know, personal choice. I think they're both good choices if you don't feel like hunting for oil constantly. So that's going to do it for this video. Just a short look at some possibilities for you. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a like, consider subscribing to my channel. Check out my Survival World episodes. I am a little slower than other YouTubers getting through my Survival World because I work full-time for a living. You're welcome to provide some comments. Love to hear from you. And as always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye now. Steve's Makerspace.